What is the magic loop method? The magic loop method is a technique used for knitting small circumferences in the round, such as socks, the sleeves of a sweater, a baby garment, or a hat, or in this case, a mitten, which is what I'm doing here. Another common way to achieve knitting small circumferences in the round is by using double pointed needles. But there are plenty of people like me who find it a bit more challenging to use double pointed needles and find it a bit easier to use the magic loop method. There's no advantage of using one method over the other. One isn't better than the other. It's just a matter of personal preference. Both methods achieve the same results, which is knitting a small circumference in the round. In this video, I'll show you how to knit using the magic loop method. To do this, we'll need a circular knitting needle, a long one. Mine's about 40 inches long. You'll want one at least that long or longer. You're going to cast on the number of stitches required by your pattern. And it doesn't matter what cast on method you use, I'm just using the long tail cast on method here. Once you've casted on the number of stitches you need, you're going to slide all of the stitches onto the cable portion of your knitting needle. We're going to fold that cable, not all the way. You don't want to put an actual kink in your cable, but just divide your stitches so that you have one set of stitches on one side of the cable and another set of stitches on the other side. Now we're going to join for working in rounds. To do that, we're going to push in that front needle. Make sure you got your right side facing where you've, casted on your stitches. We're going to push those stitches to the tip of that needle, and we're going to pull out the needle in the back. Make sure you don't pull it all the way out. You want to leave enough of a cable loop on the left so that you can comfortably work the magic loop method. You see here, you've got a loop of cable on the left. And by pulling out that back needle, we have a loop of cable on the right. Now, the working yarn is coming from the stitches on the cable at the back, and we're going to just knit across the first set of stitches. In my case, I'm not knitting every stitch, I'm just doing a 2x2 rib. So that's a knit 2, purl 2. But whatever pattern, whatever stitch pattern your pattern calls for, just do that across this first set of stitches. Now that we've gotten to the end of that first set of stitches, we will turn the work. And the first row is always a bit tricky for me, but here is where I take a little bit of extra time to make sure that my work won't be twisted. So I want to make sure all my stitches lined up and that I haven't inadvertently twisted this first row. So now we're going to push in the needle in the front and pull out the needle in the back. We're going to be repeating that step. So push in the needle in the front and pull out the needle in the back. And we're going to get those stitches in the front, we're going to get them all the way to the tip of the needle so that we can continue working on them. Here's the loop of cable that's on the left. And we've got a loop of cable on the right. And we're just going to knit across this set of stitches. The working yarn is still coming from the stitches that are on the cable at the back. And now that we're at the end of this set of stitches, All we need to do is turn the work. We'll push in the needle in the front and pull out the needle at the back. We want to get those stitches in the front. We want to get them all the way to the tip of the needle so that we're getting ready to work across that set of stitches. Working yarn, again, still coming from the stitches on the cable at the back. And we just want to continue knitting across this set of stitches. Here we are at the end. And once again, we will turn the work, push in the needle in the front, pull out the needle at the back. We'll get those stitches to the needle tip so that we can get ready to continue working. The working yarn is still coming from the stitches on the cable at the back, and we're just going to knit across this row of stitches. And that's it. That's how you knit the magic loop method. I've zoomed out here so you can really see what's going on with the cable, and it's the reason why you really do need a long enough circular knitting needle with a long enough cable so that you can comfortably have these loops of cable, one loop hanging out to the left, one loop hanging out to the right. Because if you have a shorter cable, it's really going to be uncomfortable and a little bit more difficult to do the magic loop method. So here we go. I've knit across that set of stitches. I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to push in that front needle and pull out that back needle. Again, not all the way, just to leave enough of a cable loop on each side to comfortably work the magic loop method. And that's really all there is to knitting the magic loop method. Thanks for watching.